In this tutorial, we'll cover how to set up your team in Burp Suite Enterprise Edition and how to configure role-based access control. So I'm signing into Enterprise Edition as an administrator. And you can set up your team by going to the team page. Here you can see all of the users that are set up for Enterprise Edition and all of the groups and all of the roles. A user is a person who can access Burp Suite Enterprise Edition or a machine or an app if it's an API user. A group contains users and roles. Users in the group will be able to perform the actions that are defined in the roles. And a role is a collection of actions that's things you're allowed to do. So starting off on the Roles tab, you can see there are a number of built-in roles that are useful for common purposes. And you can click into these to see the permissions that are set up. You can create a new role by clicking on the New Role button. And you can expand the different sections of permissions to add the permissions that you want to apply to this role. So I'm just going to add some permissions, things that this role will be able to do. I'm going to call the role Scan Reviewer. So if we save that, we can see that our custom role has now appeared in the list. Going to the Groups tab, again, you can see there are a number of built-in groups that are useful for common purposes. Each built-in group corresponds to one of the built-in roles. You can create a group by clicking on the New Group button. And you can select the role or roles that you want to have in this group. So I'm going to select the role that we just created. You can then add users to the group. So I'm going to select some of our users and add those to this group. Now, essentially, this means that when these users log in, they will, by virtue of being in this group, they will inherit the permissions that are defined in the associated roles. And that's all that you have to configure to create a group. But what you can also do is configure site restrictions for the group. By default, there are no site restrictions, so the group will apply to all sites. But if you wish, you can select the sites that this group will apply to. And here you can select individual sites, or you can select a folder, and everything within the selected folder will be included. And if you do that, you can then also go and exclude individual sites within the folder. So here we've included all of US sites, but we've specifically excluded these two sites within that folder. You then need to give the group a name and save it. So here you can see our group has appeared in the list, and you can see there are 3 users in the group and site restrictions have been applied. If we go to the Users tab, this contains a list of people who can access Burp Suite Enterprise Edition, or machine or app users if it's an API user. So if we drill into one of the users, we can see the details of the user and we can see the groups that they are part of. And as you can see, because we added this user to this group, they appear in this list. If you want, you can go and assign this user to more groups within the user view. You can also easily add a new user with the New User button and provide the necessary details. So now I'm going to log in as the user that we just configured. Here we can see that this user can only view the full details of the sites that are in the US sites folder and can't see any details of the ones that we excluded. So if we go into anything that was excluded, you can see the user doesn't have permissions, but if they go into something else, they can see the full details of the site. Because we didn't include any ability to launch scans, the New Scan button is not present and the user won't be able to perform that action. Burp Suite Enterprise Edition also has single sign-on Ldap integration, and you can use this to avoid the need to create the list of users. You configure this in Options and Ldap Connection. Here you can configure the details of the Ldap service that you want to use. And having done that, you then need to create groups in your directory and groups in Burp Suite Enterprise Edition with the same names. If you set that up, then a user will be able to log into Burp Suite Enterprise Edition using the single sign-on, and they will inherit the permissions that they get by virtue of the groups that they're in, as defined in the directory. So that's how to set up your team in Burp Suite Enterprise Edition and how to configure role-based access control.